Well, I was working as a teaching assistant and I was recommended the CELTA by a colleague who was also a teaching assistant. She said how incredible it was for, well, just building on kind of the same skills as a teaching assistant, and obviously with kind of thoughts of becoming a teacher, I went for it, yeah. Yeah, my colleague, she studied here, Lucy, and she just couldn't say any more good things about it, really. She said how kind of full on the course was and rigorous, but also you had loads of support, and she learnt tons, and she showed me her folder with all her lessons in, and I was just kind of very taken with it and was like, this seems like the course to do if I would have wanted to be thorough. To be honest, the thing I remember the most is the interview at the end. I can't remember the forms that well, but I do remember getting to the interview and then being given lots of scenarios and questions about how I would handle things, which was like both quite nerve-wracking and fun and challenging, and then fun to see in the moment how I would kind of adapt, even just kind of theoretically. That's the main thing I remember about the application. I suppose I remember doing quite a lot of reflecting about how my current kind of work as a teaching assistant could kind of fuel my own questions about what I wanted to learn and what I could bring to the course already. So I suppose to really just reflect on your own work experiences and how your skills are already transferable. Fun, like genuinely fun. I met really incredible people who had lots of questions and lots of perspectives and ideas, and you've got lots of people in a room who can all come at a task or a lesson or an aim with kind of like a different creative set of ideas. So that was so fun, and then it's also just really great if you love to experiment or to get really nerdy and read. I think you can bring your different talents to it, but yeah, mostly just really fun. I think coming from a specific angle of now teaching, the thing that I'm most grateful for was very specifically the session where we looked at different textbook tasks, and then we kind of fleshed out and discussed and rehearsed how to kind of bring that to life in the classroom. And now teaching every day, I look back at that session, I'm like, thank God we had that session. Yeah. Maybe the nerves, which I suppose is really normal. Everyone's going to have a different level, but I think for me it was kind of the sense of next Tuesday I have a lesson. I'm feeling really nervous, but that also is obviously really motivating because you know you're going to be teaching real people who really want to learn. So it's nerves because it's real, but at the same time you do have lots of support. But yes, the nerves I think was my biggest challenge. From 0 to 100, you've looked at the textbook, you've planned your lesson, you deliver the lesson, you adapt it maybe in the moment a bit, or you do everything as you planned. But afterwards you have that time with your peers for them to say, I saw this and I saw this, and this was really good. And you also have your tutor to say, oh yes, and what about this and what about this? You actually really get the time to unpack moment by moment what went well or what people can see that you can work on. That was the most rewarding. They've changed a lot. Before the CELTA, working as a teaching assistant, I think teachers often are associated with authority and kind of knowledge, and that tends to be mostly those things. It can be other things, but post the CELTA and during the CELTA, I learned how to adapt for this setting and be a facilitator or a mediator or a resource or a note taker or someone to come up with ideas. So lots more facilitating, which I think for me was really empowering. I didn't want to be an authority figure, and I knew I couldn't be like all knowledgeable. So then to be able to work with the people in the room and what they know, I found that really, really exciting and empowering. Certainly that textbook session that I already referenced. How else? I would say the fact that we did 8 lessons with so much feedback and with multiple perspectives on what you did. All of those lessons, before I started to work at International House, I looked through all of my reflections and all of and the notes I took from my feedback before my first class. Just having all of that reflection from myself that was being fueled by what other people were seeing. I think that really helped me to walk into the classroom on the first day and be like, I have done this before, I have reflected, I have feedback, I have things to work on, but I know what I'm doing. Enough. Oh, such a good question. I think the atmosphere in this building is really it's really incredible, and and it's really beautiful. I think everybody talks to each other. It doesn't really matter if you're training as a teacher, if you are a teacher, if you're a student, everybody says hi and you get to know people, and it's got that familiar kind of feeling about the building. Yeah, that's my kind of favourite thing about this place. Everybody talks to each other, and I mean that's part of the learning, isn't it? The first one that comes to mind is from doing the CELTA. I felt really excited and like empowered and able, having watched a recorded lesson or watched one of the teachers teach for the observation hours, to go, oh wow, that really worked, that's really fun, I've never done that, first opportunity, I'm going to do that. So the ability to experiment and know that some things will go well, and maybe other things won't take off with your classroom, but you're going to learn a lot from it. That's definitely the first one. The second one, the third one, main takeaways. A sense of like how to create, like how to know what your main aim is, and to structure a lesson to bring a whole class to the point where they've got the opportunity to use the language or the structure or to practice that scenario. Definitely that. I think initially doing the CELTA I was like, how do I do that? And now I'm definitely like, okay, I know how to build a lesson towards that aim. And then also knowing how to create that aim once you've started with a class. Monitoring, hearing people's gaps, taking notes, and then going, okay, narrative tenses. That's where lots of errors are for nearly everyone in the room. Okay, tomorrow I'll make a narrative tenses lesson.